all lies will be exposed.
Cheers and salutations. Welcome, everybody, to Hard Lens Media. My name is Kit Cabello, and this is a very special live stream because this is one of those moments where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe it happened. Now, I want to be very clear. We have an individual named Hasan Piker. For those of you who don't know, he's been one of the most influential figures on the Twitch platform. He recently had a huge back and forth with one Ethan Klein. They were once good friends, and then they had a huge falling out, which eventually led to Ethan Klein to drew a content nuke on him. However, we're not talking about that, and we're not talking about their beef. We're talking about how you could be given all the figgy pudding and now have it all be removed away from you, because Hasan Piker, aka Cenk Uyghur's nephew, has been banned from Twitch. And for those of you who are not in the know, Twitch heavily favored Hasan Piker to where they even got together and wished him a happy birthday. He's been their golden boy, their most favorite of sons, and now, like what the boss man upstairs did to the morning star, threw him out of the gates of heaven into the fiery pits of being banned. And the great Hasan Piker, the man who liked to cancel people, would in turn be canceled himself. So what caused it? I have the video in question. But to keep us safe here as well, yes, we are live on YouTube, Rumble, X, and on Kick. Shout out to Kick, far more better than Twitch. And I really do mean that. Yes, Kick is 10 times better than Twitch, but that's my scientifically accurate assessment. But to every platform that's listening here, first of all, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I can have my criticism of content creators, of reporters and journalists, and yes, even politicians. But these are not my words. And because this is breaking news of a very influential figure on a social media platform, we are playing it as commentary and news. So, with that being said, to make it very clear to anyone who want to twist things around in this day and age of social media, we have the video in which Hasan Piker suspended off Twitch after saying that Senator Rick Scott should be executed over Medicaid fraud. Those are his words on the Twitch platform. And I just want to acknowledge this here as well. Twitch is currently in a very big quandary, especially the future of their platform. But we shall see what happens in the future. But let's go ahead and play this video of one Cenk Uyghur's nephew stepping in it. And this isn't his first altercation, and the future of Twitch will be called into question.
That fraud is not coming from individuals. It's coming from providers. They're not tackling providers. They're not actually going after like false billing. They are trying to cut recipients. Okay. It is not happening at the point of recipients. If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. Okay. You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him the current, what is his current office? What is he?
United States Senator. Pay attention, Cenk's nephew. Pay attention. Pay attention.
Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him the current, what is his current office? What is he? He's the Richard Lynn Scott, is an American attorney, businessman, politician, Navy veteran, serving as the senior United States Senator from Florida.
Now, I just want to rewind this again here, okay? Because we're just going to rewind the video. These are things you don't say on social media because there are a lot of unhinged, mentally unwell people on the left and on the right, and there's just a lot of crazy people in general. In this day and age where politics is so hypercharged, this is one of the last things you say. And Hasan Piker has been known to having a very special kind of audience that worships him. Hasan, a man who claims himself to be a socialist or communist sympathizer, sure lives it up in his nice, rich mansion. Like, look, you could be for social programming, but if you're going to be all for communism and socialism, he does not fit the profile. That is my opinion of it. And second of all, with such a luxurious lifestyle and all the fancy toys and little collectibles that you have in the background, you would think you would know better before you make a statement calling for an elected official, no matter where they stand politically, to be hurt in any form whatsoever. Again, to those who are listening, these are Hasan Piker's words, not mine, and this is for news and commentary.
That fraud is not coming from individuals. It's coming from providers. They're not tackling providers. They're not actually going after like false billing. They are trying to cut recipients. Okay. It is not happening at the point of recipients. If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. Okay. You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him the current, what is his current office? What is he? He's the Richard Lynn Scott, is an American attorney, businessman, politician, Navy veteran, serving as the senior United States Senator from Florida, a seat he has held since 2019. And also, I believe this past election cycle, he was literally the f***ing head of the, what was it, like the Senate committee or something? Like the
If you're going to be pontificating about a senator, at least be sure to know what the hell they're doing. You know, it's the thing called show prep. I do that every morning. Now, I know you do like an 8-hour stream and maybe your brain is fried. This man had the audacity to say that streaming on Twitch is an exhausting job. It's a privilege to be where you're at, buddy. It's a privilege to have all the figgy pudding and have all the masters that be at Twitch worship you and favor you. What you got is a job, yes, but it's not an exhausting job. All right? When I heard you say that, even I wanted to smack you, man. But I won't, because guess what? I like to be a good person, okay? But your ignorant statements, and I'm all for the First Amendment, when you start then making the threats to a person's life, and that's what you call no bueno, buddy.
Republican fundraising initiatives. The reason why I'm saying if you cared about Medicare or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott is because, and not make him a prominent part of the Republican Party, is because he, to this day, is still also known as committing the largest Medicare fraud in U.S. history.
Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, when you make a statement such as this, it does call for a question of, okay, what are you doing? So, of course, Hasan did make a statement. He did tweet out on Easy Street. So there you go. Just want to pull this up here as well. He went on to tweet this out. I'm sorry. I'll choose my words carefully next time and say if Mike Johnson cares about Medicare fraud, since he wants to cut $800 million from the Medicare, he'd call for max punishment for the current Florida GOP senator, former Governor Rick Scott, who has done the most Medicare fraud in U.S. history. And that is correct. Yes, Rick Scott has a questionable background. However, with social media, you do have a lot of crazy people and people who are, unfortunately, so lonely that they would worship an influencer on social media or some commentator on social media, which I would say no, which is why I'm proud of my audience for being as diverse as it is, because I like to think everyone can make their own opinion. And more importantly, when I'm done doing my morning show, I encourage my audience to look at other sources of information so that you could be a well-rounded and better person. Now, as it stands right now, currently, this is what's been brought to my attention. Last ban 2 hours. He's been banned today, March 3rd, 2025. This will be about, well, his longest ban was for 7 days. You know, that's how it's been. But this is clearly a huge gut check to one Hasan Piker, as now he's lost his little time to go live. Now, will he return? I give it 72 hours, maybe a week, give or take. All depends. But again, it all depends. I want to pull up this article here. Hasan Piker, knows that Hasan Ababi, has been banned from Twitch following a controversial comment directed towards Senator Rick Scott, a prominent Republican senator from the great state of Florida. The Turkish-American Twitch streamer regularly talks about politics on his streams as a left-wing commentator. Debatable. In fact, political conversations are what dominates Hasan's content on Twitch, unlike many popular Twitch streamers who do their best to stay very far away from politics. No, well, you cannot help not talk about politics. During a recent Twitch stream, Hasan found himself talking about Medicaid and the aforementioned Rick Scott, which is when he said, if you cared about Medicaid fraud, you'd want to remove Rick Scott from this mortal world. How does that sound, YouTube? This is obviously Twitch content policy. As a result, roughly 48 hours later, the Amazon-owned platform banned Hasan from streaming on Twitch. Whether the ban is permanent or temporary is unclear. Typically, with Twitch, it is the latter, even for repeat offenders. But things are not so shiny at Twitch because of an incident that happened last year. going on. Let's actually pull up the full-scale video that actually even caused Hasan to even make his statement right here.
No, look, the White House has made a commitment. The president said over and over and over, we're not going to touch Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. We've made the same commitment. Now, that said, what we are going to do is go into those programs and carve out the fraud, waste, and abuse and find efficiencies. Couple of examples. You know, there's about $50 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid just in fraud alone. No.
That fraud is not coming from individuals, it's coming from providers. They're not tackling providers. They're not actually going after like false billing. They are trying to cut recipients, okay? It is not happening at the point of recipients. If you cared about Medicare fraud or
and I got to pause here because obviously they're not going to delete the whole, you'd want to remove Rick Scott. So why is this important and why is this very interesting? Because in this point in time, we are witnessing Twitch itself struggle with ad revenue and remain relevant. Is it going through a YouTube-like adpocalypse? There have been a lot of strong arguments that the glory days of Twitch are far behind it. And since Twitch is owned by Amazon, Amazon sooner or later is going to figure out that they might have acquired a lemon and that lemon doesn't have any juice in it. It's a dried up husk. And in turn, there could be some big changes happening with the leadership at Twitch because Amazon wants to run the show. And in case you guys might have forgotten, one Jeff Bezos has his influence around Amazon in some form or another. And if we all know how these multi-billionaires work, they want things to run smoothly. What has recently happened was the ascension of the second Trump administration. Yes, I have my fears and concerns for free speech, but there's been a complete reversal and an Uno reverse on DEI politics, as well as the last 4 years of the Biden-Harris administration, where the algorithm, the rhythm and rhyme on a lot of social media platforms, favored, let's say, the vote blue no matter who kind of sphere. There was a lot of people who were on board for the censorship and cancel culture, and this concerns me because I am ever wondering what will lie in store for us for this next 4 years with the Trump administration in regards to free speech and everything in regards to social media. But nonetheless, Jeff Bezos was at the Trump inauguration. Him, the Zuckerberg, Elon Musk. I know I hate to break it to you, but we don't have a full constitutional republic. We have an oligarchy, and where money is speech and corporations are people. You better believe that these billionaires are going to have a lot of push and pull, and the last thing they want, especially with their connections with the Trump administration, and let's be clear, I'm not a fan of billionaires controlling our politicians or having a lot amount of influence. But let's be clear here. The words of Hasan may not fit too well in Jeff Bezos' mind. Because Jeff Bezos with Amazon controlling Twitch, owning Twitch, could be the end of that platform, or there's going to be a lot of huge fundamental changes. As we have brought up, Hasan has had a lot of favoritism on that platform. And hey, to each their own. But see, this isn't the first time Hasan has had a run-in with a U.S. politician. I want to give it up for Jose Vega's best friend, the whole wide world, Richie Torres. Recently decided to have a back and forth. Now, this took place sometime on October 29th, 2024, in regards to Hasan. And if Twitch chooses to bring him back, fine, but they might have to sit him down. Representative Richie Torres warns of the amplification of anti-Semitism on Twitch, including poster child streamer Hasan Piker. Continuing on. Democrat Representative Richie Torres, who represents one of the poorest districts in New York City, is sounding the alarm of an explosion of Jewish hatred on the online streaming platform Twitch since the October 7th, 2023 terror attacks by Hamas, singling out popular politics commentator Hasan Piker, according to a copy of a letter exclusively obtained by the Post. Again, this took place in October of 2024. The South Bronx lawmaker declared in the October 29th missive to Twitch CEO Daniel Clancy that the time has come for Twitch to stop popularizing those who popularize anti-Semitism. Like Piker, who enjoys one of the largest accounts on the platform with 2.7 million followers and was credentialed streamer at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Yes, he was one of those front card people at the DNC convention in Chicago. Ask me how I feel. It's absolutely sickening. Okay. The DNC convention here in Chicago was an absolute clown show. It was a complete disaster. And anybody that actually paid that kind of money for the influence to go inside the United Center to be part of that crap show, with Kamala Harris being named the elected Democrat nominee. Anybody who's lame enough to showed up. If you were a real one, you were outside. And I'm being generous, okay? Going on. Representative Torres, 36, unloaded on Clancy for hosting Piker, as well as other streamers who have rallied against the Jewish people, praised late Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar, and vowed to take our country back from these Jewish supremacists. If the KKK or the Third Reich were a social media platform, it would be Twitch. No, it wouldn't. Twitch is as milquetoast as it can get. It is vote blue no matter whose sphere. And let us not forget, people like AOC and the squad and other people were more than happy to, maybe retweet or maybe like a comment from Hasan Piker. That's a bridge too far there. I don't want to be kind or say anything nice about Hasan, because I think everything that he has touched has turned to crap. Hasan Piker labeling himself or attaching himself to any kind of cause is usually a kiss of death and should be viewed as a cancer. Continuing on, the congressman cited Piker hatefully calling a Jewish man an effing bloodthirsty, violent pig dog, claiming that it doesn't matter if assault happened on October 7th. I got to be careful here. And defending Iran's Lebanon-based terror proxy Hezbollah. Platforming any of these terrorist organizations, as Piker's done, is beyond the pale, said Torres, adding the streamer's incitement of violence merits scrutiny from federal law enforcement. Piker has even gone as far as telling his followers to kill and assault people in the streets and letting the streets soak red in capitalist blood. Hasan's not doing himself any favors. This was the first one where he had a congressional representative. The second one, a United States senator. And the good days, the good times of Twitch and the vote blue, no matter who, cancel culture, banning, and everything else, and media going to bat for people. Yeah, that was 8 years ago. It's over now. It's 2025. It's a whole new year. And this is why I'm a little bit worried about the further future and ramifications for free speech and these social media platforms, because if Twitch wasn't going through an adpocalypse now, they're going to be going through it most definitely. Going on, we will continue on through here. He also went on to make some very interesting remarks about everyone's favorite GOP rep, Dan Crenshaw, as well. But there is another aspect here, and I do want to pull this up here because this is in relation after October. AT&T, JP Morgan reportedly stopped advertising on Twitch. What to know about the platform's anti-Semitism controversy. This was from last year in December. Hasan's words aren't going to be doing Twitch any favors for any other potential or remnant advertisers on Twitch. If anything, I'm Kick, your Twitch. Look at me. I'm running the streaming service now. Anyways, I just want to give a shout out to Kick. Have to, because I love Kick. Kick is a great platform. And by the way, Heartlands Media is actually on Kick. All right, so there you go. JP Morgan, AT&T, and Dunkin' brands have pulled advertisements, no pun intended, pulled out advertisements from Twitch following accusations the popular live streaming platform is promoting anti-Semitic content, according to Bloomberg, signaling the latest criticism faced by Twitch as it has repeatedly found itself in hot water over anti-Semitism allegations since October. Going on, the three brands have pulled ads from Amazon-owned platform after it and one of its popular streamers, Hasan Piker, were accused of anti-Semitism over streams from Piker regarding Israel's invasion of Gaza, Bloomberg reported, citing unnamed people with knowledge of the matter. The accusations surfaced in online forums associated with banned Twitch streamers Stephen Destiny Bonnell and Dan Saltman, who have condemned Piker for his criticism of Israel. Yes, it's a back and forth, but listen, Destiny's no saint, and he's got his own freaking problems. Big brain expert right there. Piker, a streamer and political commentator, described himself as an advocate for Palestinian emancipation. Anything that Hasan touches goes to crap. It is just that simple. There's no debate about it. I remember when one of his fans ran up to him and said, "Why are you buying a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi or something of that nature?" And she was like, "Boycott." And he was like, "No." He doesn't believe in that. BDS? No, he doesn't. but also a fervent combater of anti-Semitism to Bloomberg, which noted Saltman has blasted Piker's content and led a mass email campaign against Twitch, calling for advertisers to leave the platform over alleged anti-Semitism. This was from last year, by the way, this article. There's going to be a big shakeup at Twitch. Twitch and Piker were the subjects of similar anti-Semitism allegations last month when Representative Richie Torres, a Democrat from New York State, who represents the most poorest district in New York City, broke a letter blasting Twitch for the anti-Semitic, anti-American propaganda emanating from Piker and characterizing Twitch as enablers and citing video clips of the streamer discussing conflict. Anything that he speaks about, it always goes to crap. Piker told NBC News many of the clips were taken out of context and that he was criticizing Israel's government as opposed to Jewish people. Twitch also found itself in the hot seat in October when it apologized for not re-enabling email signups for users in Gaza and Israel after temporarily disabled the signups for accounts in both regions following Hamas October 7, 2023 attacks on Israel. Twitch said the temporary block was meant to curb graphic posts and that users could still sign up through phone number verification. Twitch, JP Morgan, AT&T, and Dunkin' brands did not immediately respond to Forbes' request for comment. So there you go. But for those of you who are just tuning in right now, YouTube Rewind. When you step in it and you lose the figgy pudding.
That fraud is not coming from individuals. It's coming from providers. They're not tackling providers. They're not actually going after like false billing. They are trying to cut recipients. Okay. It is not happening at the point of recipients. If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott.
No.
Okay. You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott. You wouldn't make him the current. What is his current office? What is he? He's the Richard Lynn Scott, is an American attorney, businessman, politician, Navy veteran, serving as the senior United States senator from Florida, a seat he has held since 2019. And also, I believe this past election cycle, he was literally the head of the, what was it, like the Senate committee or something, like the Republican fundraising initiatives. The reason why I'm saying if you cared about Medicare or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott is because, and not make him a prominent part of the Republican Party, is because he to this day is still also known as committing the largest Medicare fraud in U.S. history.
Okay, now listen. I know there's going to be some people say, hey, this is free speech. There's better ways in which wording it, and in this day and age where everything's so hypercharged and in which we witnessed in the 2024 election cycle, where not once but twice Donald Trump was subjected to 2 potential assassinations, you don't joke about this. You don't bring it up. Because you got to be careful. There's always going to be a person saying we need more rules and regulation, to which I have to say, again, it's all in place. But Twitch is a little bit of a special territory. Twitch being a platform that has had influence, but it's all propped up. You see, it looked like a great ship, but inside it's being run by a bunch of clowns, amateur hour. Now, if it does truly mean the end and they're going to be facing more advertisers pulling out, Amazon's going to want to, well, take care of the CEO as well as other people that have been running Twitch and looking into how they favor things. It's been argued that there is an algorithm and system that only favors the big honchos, the top players, and that if you are trying to start off on Twitch, well, you're better off that you. Sisyphus, in the Greek mythology, has a better chance rolling that boulder up the hill than you actually having an input or digital footprint on the Twitch platform. But nonetheless, Hasan Piker actually did make another comment where he did say out, big shout out to the right-wing free speech lovers who took me out of their days screaming out of DEI and immigrants to cry about this. He also goes on to instigate a little bit of a conflict with one Tim Pool. And to quote my favorite line from the new Godzilla Monsterverse, let them fight. Tim Pool loves that Rick Scott was caught overseeing the largest Medicare, Medicaid fraud in U.S. history and will defend the wealthy robbing you blind, just as he'll defend Mike Johnson gutting Medicaid with lies. He's not independent. He's a bald partisan hack. Oof, come on, be nice, gentlemen. Tim Pool went on to say, it's a suspension. They call it banned, but he'll be back shortly, which if Hasan doesn't come back within the next 72 hours or a week, then you know something's up. Then you know Twitch got a call from Amazon, which in turn means Jeffy Boy called. Tim Pool went on to say, you were crying. I think I'll be all right, little man, which let's be clear here. Hasan Piker is one of those influencers that will be A-okay. A-okay, because he has accumulated so much for himself. And because of his influence and following on social media, it wouldn't be a surprise. But what is the lesson that we can learn from this, especially from this epic clown show in where one could have so much and lose it all? We here at Heartlands Media do believe in the First Amendment, but there's also a danger now that I've been warning about since 2020. That is, when the Biden-Harris administration got into power, we saw a lot of people getting censored and suppressed. There were stories we couldn't even talk about. There were stories that we couldn't even bring up because of how controversial they were, such as the pandemic or what happened on January 6th, or, dare I say it, one Julian Assange. There are things you got to be careful for. And it really was rough in those 4 years. I saw a lot of people in independent media get hit hard. Now, under this administration, the Trump administration, there's a big question of what will happen to a lot of us, not only just independent media, but a lot of content creators. Hasan's words, yeah, I understood what he was trying to say. But like all the time, every time, he fails miserably in trying to bring his point. You could have just said, hey, remove Rick Scott, fire Rick Scott. Don't have him associated with anything with Medicare or Medicaid. But when you use the word kill, for example, you put yourself in a very precarious spot, and by proxy, hitting a lot of other people here too. I'm bracing myself and holding my breath, waiting for the inevitable. Well, hey, we made some new changes on YouTube. Rumble, Kick, Rockfin, Odyssey, you name it. Brilliant job, Hasan Piker. But with that, what are your thoughts? Will Hasan Piker grace us again on Twitch? Will he return? I'm going to vote for yes. Yes, he will probably most likely return. Nobody with that amount of following just disappears overnight or gets Thanos out. But there's a big shift happening here, a big change on social media. And yes, Nice Jungle, you're absolutely right. A call for violence is not free speech. Absolutely. Absolutely indeed. But my counter to that, thank you so much, Nice Jungle, is that what I'm worried about is the overall pushback that we can get from the establishment system. Both parties, Democrats and Republicans, were more than happy to put in more laws. Now, look, the system is in place. And I remember a time in the shock jock era for radio when the shock jocks used to be around. Listen, the systems were in place too, but because people overreacted, and I get it, I'm not on board for violence. I don't like that. But when you have people overreacting, it's going to have long-term consequences. Now, somebody like Hasan, will he learn his lesson? No, absolutely not. But in this day and age where we had not one but two incidents where a presidential candidate, now president, had to face 2 assassination attempts, horrible choice of words, horrible timing, especially to say about a U.S. senator, due to the fact that in the United States, we lack proper health care, especially when it comes down to mental care. And because of the United States having such a high profile of, well, gun violence, all this coming together is a bad idea. Let's see. What else we got here? I want to make sure we got, let's see. And Ashura says Hasan is a recidivist. He'll do it again. Yeah, he did it before. In that article from the New York Post, where you had Democrat Representative Richie Torres, who represents the poorest district in New York City, call for Twitch to get him banned. And what kind of person would hear what Hasan said, be perfectly normal up until that point of life, and then say, yeah, I should do that? Well, hey, listen, Chicago Great One, there are a lot of unhinged people here. In this world, there are plenty of unhinged individuals that are not right in the head. What else we got here? And Rami says, to my knowledge, his money comes from Twitch. Well, Twitch, the money train for Twitch might be ending. That is what's happening. That is what's happening. Nobody says, is it a permaban? It's not. It's just a regular ban, but we shall see what happens as it stands. And let me refresh this page in case you are tuning in right now. One last time. This is just a regular ban. Took place. He has a total of 5 bans altogether. We shall see if he returns within the next 72 hours or within 1 week. If he doesn't, then he's made an oopsie and he has a little bit of an uh-oh moment. And what will he do then for his lavish lifestyle? Let's see. And let's see. Checkpoint Guard says Twitch's CEO glazes Hasan more than he glazed his own phone with the creepy content he actually showed off twice. Checkpoint Guard. Well done, Checkpoint Guard. I used to do some guard posting back in the day when I was in the Marine Corps. But yes, the CEO of Twitch, while showing off his phone, had a lot of, well, Twitch model streamers on his phone. Clearly, he has his favorite of the wonderful, beautiful ladies that he likes to watch. What he does on his free time, that's on him. But the internet's forever. So yes, Checkpoint Guard, good reference. Let's see. Nice Jungle says Twitch recently has updated the ban rules. We shall see. Kenneth Locke says it's Jank's nephew after all. Who's to be surprised? Censored. When hinged folk choose violence, shite starts improving like government starts listening. Absolutely. Absolutely. But there is that danger, that danger of what it does to the other social media platforms as well. I want to acknowledge my Kick people. Let's see. What else we got here? How to spell dumb ass. Hasan. Hasan. Dumbass. Sunshine Lollipops laughing at that too. Shout out to my Kick people there as well. Kick, the #1 streaming platform, as it should be. It will be superseding Twitch very soon. That is one of my predictions. Shout out to our Rumble people as well. And if everyone's shocked about what the Twitch CEO did in regards for showing off Twitch models, yes, no, that is an actual thing. I won't show it because it's creepy enough to see that a CEO, a person in a position of power, would say that. And for one last time, for anyone that's tuning in, yes, Hasan has been banned from Twitch. It'll probably get reversed in within the next 72 hours or a week. But again, one last time for those tuning in, watch how you step in it.
That fraud is not coming from individuals. It's coming from providers. They're not tackling providers. They're not actually going after like false billing. They are trying to cut recipients. Okay. It is not happening at the point of recipients. If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. Okay. You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him the current, what is his current office? What is he? He's the Richard Lynn Scott, is an American attorney, businessman, politician, Navy veteran, serving as the senior United States Senator from Florida, a seat he has held since 2019. And also, I believe this past election cycle, he was literally the head of the, what was it, like the Senate committee or something, like the Republican fundraising initiatives. The reason why I'm saying if you cared about Medicare or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott is because, and not make him a prominent part of the Republican Party, is because he to this day is still also known as committing the largest Medicare fraud in U.S. history.
On the one hand, he's not wrong about Rick Scott, but he is wrong about his choice of words. And when you start inciting things, especially when you have unhinged people, yes, there's always that risk on the internet. You don't know what you're opening up, a Pandora's box. So as that being said here, folks, we will see. We'll probably be giving an update to this story on our morning show. Hard Lens Media is live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central on YouTube, on Rumble, on Rockfin, on Kick, and yes, on X as well. We appreciate everyone giving us time out of your afternoon for joining us. We'll see what happens. It was in the next few days. We do got music from Jesse Jett as always, so I'm more than happy to pull this up here. Shout out to Jesse Jett. And be sure to support him and follow him on all of his good work. It is an interesting time we are living in. So until then, take good care of yourselves and each other. We appreciate all the support. If you want to help us out, please consider being a patron supporter. You can check out our Linktree, Peachtree right here. We appreciate every support that we can get on YouTube, on X, on Rumble, on Kick, on Discord, on Patreon, on PayPal, and yes, even on the Instagram as well. All this can be found in the Linktree, Peachtree in the description box below. Here's music by Jesse Jett. My name is Kit Cabello. This has been Hard Lens Media, and I'll see all of you wonderful, beautiful people tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central, the best morning show here in Chicago. Peace out.
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days and to still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to save. And when they told you everything was safe, were you safe? Were you safe? Were you safe? Were you safe? I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days and to still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to say. And when they told you everything was safe, were you safe? Were you safe? Were you safe? Were you safe?
Fresh off the mass is the brand new cancerous growth who has come here to vie for your vote. Come here to cry at the camps and to mourn at the shore for the bodies that float by the wreck of an immigrant boat. Then it's back to their luxury home, couple security booths and a moat. Couple cigars, little escargot, little booze and a soak. Just breathe in the steam and the smoke. Pink salt, lavender, candles are low. Shit, when you do what you do, gotta lighten the load. And he got a life of his own that's a sight to behold. And it's a lot to control, to decipher the code or to siphon the soul. The cost of a good night's sleep for the working elite is a bargain, no matter the toll. Worth any wager, and that comes straight from the mouth of the means to the goal that will swallow us whole. Right for the picking if you don't mind mold, and you know I don't. Maybe we're pleasantly prone, maybe we're taking a licking, compliantly ticking and ticking and ticking, but never explode. No, I don't deliver the prettiest image, but damn if it isn't an accurate vision of natural fission, of rage at the system and abject heartbreak, patiently waiting for any who will listen. That little blue bird who was watching your words is a federal carrier pigeon, a Langley first. It's a patient observer who hears what it wants and is trained for the worst. Oh, you got nothing to hide. They'll be the ones to decide that after they root through your purse, after they read all your text, after they raid your apartment, confiscate all of its contents, then conjure up evidence out of the air on a wing and a prayer and malicious intelligence nonsense. Any presumption of innocence long since gone, right along with your comforts and constants. Historically first they will come for the communists. So why in the fuck would I say I'm a communist? Well, it might be I love my community more than the monsters of opulence who are holding us hostage, who are vomiting promises. Might be I'm all done seeing our pensions and benefits harvested. Might be I'm all done watching the populace being disarmed in the guise of an armistice. Watching a woman collapse on the floor who will rise no more. She is wheeled out the door and you're next in line for the pharmacist. If you can get me to vote, it's a hard no confidence. But part of the charm of deception is politics wearing the mask of incompetence. It's all in the art of austerity, darling. It's all in the slide of the providence. Until home is as wide as your cubicle height and is only as deep as your coffin is. Maybe I'm miles away from impatience, aching to break off the head of the snake where the capital lust, reptile brain, and the margin of profit is. Like off with his. Like off with his.
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days and to still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so hard to save. And when they told you everything was safe, were you safe?